I'm quite worried about this.
Does Wendy know yet?
No. So
Wendy's Damo's wife, by the way.
Yeah, Regan's going to love it. Richie not so much, and my wife is going to kill me.
Thinking Tackle Podcast.
I'm just going to believe just in case.
Yeah, that is the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's great to have things to believe in, isn't it?
Innocence.
Innocence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love that. You don't get many things like that in life. Yeah, it all runs out eventually, doesn't it? Then you
Big
don't-
lies.
Big lies, yeah.
Long
Always
lies.
catch
You
up with
start
you.
believing less and less as you get older. Before you know it, everything, especially nowadays, everything feels like a conspiracy theory, doesn't it? So you feel
It
like
does if you
nothing's
let
real.
it. That's social media, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, are we rolling? Can we get going? I think we can.
Here we go.
Well, for everyone that's watching, you'll know straight away. For everyone that's not, we are in a very, very nice location. We thought we'd do one on the road for Christmas. And Steve Sands, the owner of Churchwood Fisheries, has kindly had us down to his incredible home. Treated us some lovely bacon and sausage sandwiches.
Yeah, what a host, by the
What a
way.
host.
What
It's,
a
it's
host.
funny because Neil, where's your terrible things?
Terrible.
He bought some mince
Shit,
pies.
Yeah, just a bit of context.
And then Steve's come up with these lovely fresh ones.
Yeah, right.
Hot
Yeah.
out the oven.
But what did you lot bring?
Ourselves.
No, exactly. At least some
Ourselves.
of us
We knew,
made
you
the
see.
effort to
We
bring
knew he was gonna be a
something.
great
I didn't
host.
know Steve was such a fantastic host and made mine look like utter rubbish.
Who bought the hats, by the way?
Wilkesy bought the hats.
Oh, well done.
Yeah,
Obviously.
well
Well
done.
done, Jun.
Great,
Yeah,
I like
cheers.
it. It's Korda green. So yeah, he's had us down. It looks amazing. We've got a fire here that I'm going to have to chuck a log on in a minute, actually, so we can get that going. Just know, well, not for Tom's boiling hot,
I'm
but
not. You're not.
I'm all right.
He's going through the change, isn't he?
That's what it is.
but yeah, he's had us down, and we just want to say a big thank you to him. And it's yeah, I'd like to use this every time now. If that's all right.
I'm
Just come
literally
here
just
every
waiting
2
for
weeks.
Christmas dinner to
Yeah.
come out. That's what
Yeah.
it feels
It's
like.
a beautiful
doesn't
place. It's really
Yeah.
fishing orientated, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
The
beautiful.
scene. Yes.
And we're going to try and do this one a little bit different. First of all, we're going to be discussing, so at some point during this, we're going to be discussing some winter tips and how to keep your catching right through the winter.
Yep.
Something we think is really important. A lot of people tend to, from now, start hanging the rods up and not enjoying the angling that's out there and available. So hopefully we can give some people some tips and keep them fishing. We've also got an incredible giveaway coming at the end, a massive comp. We wanted to finish with a bang, and Damo has kindly offered to give away a set of his sample 13-foot, 4-pound platinums. So an expensive prize.
What's that worth? Like 1,200 quid or something?
it?
More.
1,500.
1,500.
Yeah, more than that.
Maybe
They're-
1,600.
They're one-offs.
Expensive.
And
Yeah,
there's
they're
the
one-off, so they're
originals,
arguably priceless. So that's an amazing prize. We wanted to do something big. And you're going to win that off the back of a confession that Damo is going to tell us that only Tom has heard. So I'm looking forward to this.
Well, we've just got back from Asia, and he told us over a couple of glasses of wine one evening this story, and I found it very funny. I was like, mate, you have to tell that on the podcast.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not telling it.
Yeah, I think he's still quite nervous about telling it, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, I mean, this morning.
Because it makes him look stupid at the same time,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
just very funny.
I'm more worried about Wendy listening to this.
Just tell him the Christmas one didn't work out in the end. The
Yeah.
sound messed up.
Let's be honest, none of our misses listen to what we do.
No,
Let's
probably
be
not.
honest.
No.
But first of all, let's just have a little bit of a general catch up. Just before we went away last time, we asked what everyone was up to. You two were obviously off to Asia.
We went to Hong Kong and we went to Taiwan, and our colleagues went into mainland China. So it was a good trip.
Really good trip, actually. We do it once a year. Bit of a catch up with the suppliers, bit of product work. So there's some decent products coming out. I particularly like one of them. There's a line we've got coming out that's similar to a line that we've already got out, but it's the best line I've ever used.
Nice.
And that's like, I'm really looking forward to that coming out next year.
Is that the one you gave me for Gigantica this
Yeah,
year?
it's just the best carp line ever.
Yeah,
It's just
really
so good.
Yes,
Nice.
it's amazing. It's been in testing for a couple of years, and we changed the diameter down to, we brought out a new diameter at 0.38, and that is just the ultimate
Yeah, that's what
all-round
I'm
fishing
using.
line. Yeah, it's
Incredible.
brilliant. Yeah.
Brilliant. Keep your eyes peeled for that then.
Yeah.
What about you, Spoons? Not too much?
A little bit of fishing.
Yeah.
Went down to Hodgett's up at Norton Disney, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The site hadn't been fishing particularly well because it was right in the middle of that really cold snap, but I knew that Hodgett's having a better head of fish. You could still give them a bit of food. 24 hours, had 12 bites, landed 10.
That's
Nice.
decent.
Pretty
Yeah,
good.
mate, up to like a couple of big 20s. Really
Nice.
good. Just all steady as well. Like from the minute I started, first bite after an hour, and then it was just steady for the whole 24 hours. Just a
Nice.
bite every hour and a half. Really nice.
Do you think it seems like fish have started to come out more now it's got colder? It's like we was all looking forward to the autumn, and actually the beginning part of the autumn fished really well, and then it was really difficult even when it was really mild.
Yeah, I think
It was mild, but the weather was so stagnant.
It was stagnant.
You had decent temperatures, but you had no rain, no wind, no sunshine.
Lack
It was-
of oxygen, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
It
just
really
boring.
affected
The
it.
minute you get a change in anything in carp fishing, something happens in it. I think we spoke about this in the office about it being rubbish We were saying the first time something extreme happens, like it drops a bit or goes icy or a big wind comes, it will just turn on again. It has, hasn't it? It seems to be fish getting caught everywhere again.
The lads in the Guru office was like saying that all the match venues are fishing terrible.
Oh, really?
Really bad, yeah. So maybe they're still suffering with the low oxygen levels.
Yeah, the oxygen is something that we don't think about enough, all of us.
No,
It's like, I know, like we understand that wind makes a difference, but I think the wind makes a difference because of the oxygen, and I don't think people think about the oxygen out of the weed enough as well in the summer. You know, whether it's at night that there's no oxygen there, or in the day that there's loads, or in the spring if it's calm weather and that first bit of weed creates a lot of oxygen. Yeah, and the fish are obviously thinking about oxygen first, probably warmth second, and then food third, I'd say. Yeah. So you need to be where the oxygen is. And you can tell that later on in the year, like when it's stagnant like this, it's like nothing. No matter what you put in front of them or where you are, you're not going to get bites because they're just pretty much just sitting there. You know? Yeah. So we do need to think about it a bit more, I think.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Well, we've actually just come back from saying about things fishing well. We've actually just been to North Bank. Quite a few of the lads in the marketing department. Literally beginning last week, I think it was. Just went.
Yeah, it was the same time I was at.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, just went for 2 nights. I actually didn't fish because
you're scared of blinking.
I was scared of blinking on social again. I didn't want to take the risk.
Again. Yeah. You can't have that.
No, I actually said that. Someone asked me that. Did Adam actually catch? And I just said I was too scared to get the rods out of that. But no, I needed to, with a couple of the other guys, create some content for the clothing page and Carp Porter. So I was doing that, but about 5 or 6 of the lads did fish, and that fished incredible. I couldn't believe it. It didn't feel overly nice. It was quite cold.
It was bitter.
Bit of a horrible wind. I think there's a lot of northerly in it. Yeah. But they had some incredible fish. I think they ended up with like 530s or something. Yeah. And a load of other really good looking fish. And that is a lake I'd never been to. And the lads were saying like it's the ultimate social venue. Wait till you see it. And you sort of get there and you pull onto almost like an island, and all the swims are sort of. You've been there.
It's like a mushroom sort of.
Like I've been to that one.
Oh right. Well, they're almost like a 180 the swims, and you just all sit in the middle, and you've got a hut. You've got amenities there, you've got toilet, you've got a barbecue on site. It's literally the ultimate social venue. So it's somewhere I'll be going, and they've actually got a really good deal on it at the moment. So if you want to get a social with your lads, go and check it out. I can't remember the exact price of it, but it's really reasonable for you to go and have a session.
What do you do then? Book it for, is it 2-night trips or 3-night trips, or is it just
I think there's a couple of different options. Okay. I think there's like a midweek option and a weekend option. But really, really good value at the moment. And the fishing's just incredible. Oh, okay. I think all the lads caught, bar one, I think. I'm not sure. But really good. Nice. And they were getting caught one end and totally the opposite end as well, even though there was quite a wind going. So
did Wilksy catch?
He didn't fish.
He didn't fish either.
He was just as scared.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. It's understandable. Right, so that's that. We're all caught up.
Not quite. We also did the show at the weekend, didn't we?
Sorry. Yes, we did do the show.
I do want to thank everyone for coming up to ask me if I've had a UK 50 yet.
Oh, yeah. First question on your speech. Both days, I've heard.
Both days.
And thanks for telling everyone that I was going to Turkey to get a hair transplant.
Because I was just about that.
So I had loads of messages. How's Turkey going, Tom? How's your hair transplant? I'm like, no.
Yeah, sorry, I can't.
It's every time. It's just not even funny anymore.
No, but makes me happy. Yeah.
Do you know, I will just say actually about that. Thanks to everyone that come up to us, and yourself, Spoons, and me, and said about the podcast, because it was quite overwhelming, wasn't it? It was a lot of people.
Really nice. Yeah, it's nice. It's a new format. We enjoy doing it. We feel like it works, but when the guys we're doing it for love it as well, it's win-win, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. A lot of good comments on all the platforms.
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. Okay, right, moving on. This is something Tom wanted to do because he's done this before. And it's everyone's targets or whatever targets they've got for 2025. And I understand you've done this at the beginning of last year.
Yeah, I put out a post at the back end of last year. Sorry, why you do that,
Tom? I'm going to stick a little log on the old fire over here.
I put a post out on Instagram. I think you did as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I copied you. I thought it's a great idea, putting it out for everyone to see.
Yeah, that's the point, is that you can set yourself targets, but if you don't put them out there for everyone to see, there's no consequence of failing them. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to feel like an idiot at the end of the year having failed all of your targets, do you? So it puts a bit more pressure on you to do it.
Yeah.
So I will do the same again this year. I'll put them out on Instagram again. But I thought we could talk about our targets of last year, your ones and my ones, and if you had any. I don't know if you had any or not.
I didn't set one.
No, but maybe you had some in your own mind, and maybe you had some.
Too easy for
you
Damo.
Almost definitely you can't complete your target.
Mine was to catch on a social. I still haven't done it.
Still time.
I'm going for it again next year.
And then we can revisit this, can't we, at the back end of next year to see whether we've
really
actually done them or not. So I'm gonna go. Toby hates me going on my phone, but I've put it on aeroplane mode, Toby. Where are they? So I've complete. I put a lot on there. I was thinking I was better than I am. I think this last year. So my first one was catch 2 UK 40s and a 50-pounder, which I actually did manage, which
Nice.
I thought at the time was probably the most difficult one.
Yeah.
But I've had a really good year on Raisbury. I caught. What did I catch now? I've caught three or four 40s, I think. I caught 2
There's
out.
just so many account, isn't there?
Huh?
Just-
I think I caught 2 or 3 out of Raisbury, and then I caught that one out of Brasenose.
Oh yeah, I forgot
And then
about
I
that
caught
one.
one out of as well, but that was back in last year. And then I caught what's his name when you were there?
Is it Roger?
Yeah.
Pounder. Huh?
Roger.
Mike's pet.
That's it.
Very close.
Roger's the other lake board, isn't it? That's the other big one. in
Roger's
there.
pet.
Yeah. That's it.
Squeezing small personal time fishing, because obviously the year before this year, me and Spooner were away filming lots of monster carp, so it's very difficult to get in your own time fishing.
Yeah.
But this year, because we haven't been away filming so much, we've still been doing other bits, but not as much. I've actually managed to get in about 35 nights.
Hang
so
on a second. Are you including him in that?
no, this
He's never in the office. He's always fishing.
Yeah, because I'm filming Damo.
Bollocks.
That is the case. Trust me. Personal fishing the year before was non-existent.
Trust me.
Look, people love seeing you on here. I think they'd love to see you doing more films.
Yes,
for
they
Korda.
would.
That is
said a
true.
lot.
That is true.
I would
That
like
is-
to do more fishing for myself.
Yeah, wouldn't we all, Damo?
Well, people
Yeah,
will
but
be
the
pleased
fil-
to know he has been out and done a film, and so he has got
Yeah,
one
it's been
coming
out and done a
out.
film.
Yeah.
When
Due
they
to do
love
another one as
that.
well, aren't you?
I ain't doing any more.
I think you booked him for another one next year. I don't think I told you yet.
Yeah, you're in.
You're
You're
booked
definitely in the
in, yeah.
diary. 100%.
big
Be
film.
having
isn't it?
Big
worse.
film. Big film.
It's
We're
3
getting
rods on a
words
spot
later.
at Lydia for 2 weeks. Suit you down to the ground.
Sorry, Tom.
No, that's right. Squeezing, but yeah. So I squeezed in more of my own personal fishing this year, and that it sort of reignited a flame for me a little bit. I think I got a little bit jaded with it, so most of my fishing was filming, and that does harm your own fishing. It just definitely does, because you haven't got enough time to squeeze it all in. So it's been nice this year to be able to do that.
Yeah.
My third one was shoot under par at a championship level course. I've got worse at golf because I've been fishing so much, so that wasn't even close. Catch a new Gigantica PB, which I also didn't do.
Get close?
In fact, all of these ones I haven't done. Sorry?
Did you get close? I
No.
remember what you had. You had a
No,
few,
I mean,
didn't
I
you?
caught a lot of
you did
fish
catch
out of
a lot of
Gigantica
fish.
this year. I don't believe in luck and bad luck and all that, but I think I got unlucky. Well, no, I don't know how many I've caught. I think I've caught 60. I've had 60 bites or something out of Gigantica over the last 3 trips, and I haven't caught anything over sort of 59 pound, I think,
Right.
which is a massive fish, obviously.
Yeah.
And what is your Gigantica PB?
62 pound, I think.
Well,
Right, so you
beat
weren't
that
that
then.
far off.
I
then.
wasn't-
The target.
The target when you were there,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was a lot of years
Yeah,
ago
but-
now, wasn't it?
But considering how many fish there are in there, over 62 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of bites
it's
so from
insane.
Gigantica
And
and,
then, like-
not get one of them.
Yeah, and then I'm fishing next to Callum, who's fishing in Alcatraz, and he has 2 70s and a 60
Yeah.
in like 8 hours or something.
Arguably,
Yeah.
that's worse than Spooner not catching a UK 50.
I love the argument.
Yeah.
I love the argument.
You reckon? Have you been to Gigantica?
Never.
All right,
No.
okay.
Well, I've
There's
been-
somewhere else he
actually
doesn't
saying
want to blame.
that-
can
No,
he?
I've
It's the
been
same
there.
result as you going.
No, I have to catch the same amount.
Right, okay. So then I've got complete right in my book. I have made headway on my book, though, if that's the right saying.
Headway, I think.
Headway.
Headway.
I've made headway on my book.
Good.
I'm getting there with it. I haven't completed it. It's there. Golf handicap down to 2. I haven't played golf, so it's not.
You've got to play
free.
a lot to get your golf handicap down to 2.
Sorry,
haven't you?
sorry, 3. Yeah, you have. It's like I got down to sort of 7-ish, and then I reckon I'm like a 10 or 11 handicap.
I've played with him though. Good player. For somebody that's been playing amount of time Tom has.
Thank
Good
you, mate.
golfer.
I appreciate it.
Oh, that's nice,
Well,
isn't it?
Yeah, he is though.
nice.
Well, when you actually play against good golfers, though, you
Yeah.
realise you're terrible.
That's true
But
also.
For
Yeah.
a normal guy, I'm not bad.
Yeah.
Produce some different exciting content for you guys on YouTube. Feel like we've done that.
I think so.
Feel like the Versus series has started that way. We've got loads booked in next year,
Yep.
and we are listening to your requests on who you want us to match up against. So we've got
I spoke to Dan the other day.
Dan and Daryl is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's difficult for us this time of year because it's a match, and obviously you need lots of bites for the match to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll probably, I think we're going to do Dan and Daryl in May, is it next year?
I think
or
so.
June.
Yeah.
But we're filming 5 or 6 of them consecutively throughout the summer, so there's going to be lots of them coming out next year.
Okay.
Look at my phone less. So I'm looking at it now. My average has gone up. So my current average at the time was 5 hours 24, which I would love to get down to now.
Yeah.
My average is like 6-7 hours a day.
But do you know what? It's very difficult. I get in trouble for this a lot as well, especially at home, being on the phone. But if the majority of the time, it's always like there's an element of research involved in this stuff all the time.
Sure.
Isn't
That's
there?
it, salesman.
No, with what we work in marketing, you are continually looking for trends. You're continually looking for what's working, what's not, looking for ideas. And I think we're all very guilty in that department of having really high screen times. And I think I can blame a little bit on that.
Yeah. There's like, well, just everything's on your phone, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Like even in my house, I don't ever get like the kids watch the telly or Lou's watching something on the telly.
You don't want to
really
watch it.
something. So it's easy for me to not pay attention to what's on the telly and just look at my phone and listen to something on YouTube.
Everybody does that, don't they? Everybody looks at it too much.
Yeah, and at work now, nobody work. You don't do work off a laptop, do you? Everything's like on WhatsApp.
No, you've got your laptop. You walk around with nothing on it, don't you?
Yeah,
Just bowling around the office.
Absolutely nothing on it.
He's got his phone in front of that.
Phone's linked to it. Yeah, I'm just searching for Instagram now.
Yeah, so that's a massive failure. So I reckon I'd say that I've achieved maybe half of them.
Yeah,
That's a fair old list.
I was going to say, when you look back
but
at that,
aim high, innit?
yeah.
And that's what I think we should all do this year,
All right.
especially you.
Well, mine were less than that.
Yeah.
My first one, I'll talk about the successes. I wanted to catch a couple of 40-pounders, which I did do.
Yeah.
Different venues, one from frying in, one from burners.
Yeah.
Nice.
Next one, I wanted to, fitness-wise, wanted to run 1,000 kilometres in a year, which isn't a lot by a runner's standards, but it's a lot for someone that does it every now and then. Started off brilliantly. I think by January, I'd already done by midway through Feb, I think I'd done over 200 kilometres. I was well on the way of doing it. And I got, which a lot of people laugh at, which is cruel, but I went for a run during my lunch hour and got hit by a car.
That was really funny. He come back with like bleeding. He's like, I got run over by a car.
Hilarious, isn't it? So that knocked me for six a little bit.
Added a few kilometres on though, didn't it?
I walked back. I was trying to carry on running. What I was more annoyed at the time, I'm literally rolling over the bonnet like Starsky or Hutch. I don't know which one it was.
Yeah.
Rolling across, landed on the floor, and the first thing I did, I paused me time so I could carry on. I wanted my time to be effective.
Of course you did.
Anyway, I think I finished up at about 350 kilometres. So big failure. I could probably, but now it got to the point where, because I put that target in place, the longer the year went on, when I'm trying to get back into it again, I'm like, no, I can't do it, and it sort of became a bit of a negative. But I still want to do that. I do want to run a marathon at some point. I think it's a bucket list thing, but I only want to run the London Marathon. So I went in for the ballot again and didn't get in. I think next year I may try and do it through a charity, because then it's easier to get in that way.
Yeah.
And once you've got it, then the training becomes real. And again, it's one of the things I want to do it, and I want to do it in a decent time. I want to do it in sub 4 hours. That's quite a high target. Yeah. But in all honesty, that'll be for the year after, because I know I'm not in the London this year.
That's a good target, that, mate.
Yeah, I think so.
You could do it for Lennox, couldn't you?
That's what I thought. We're in a fortunate position that, because of carp fishing, we've got a lovely load of people that follow us. So if we get the chance to do it and raise money for a worthwhile charity, I think we almost obliged to do it. I think we should do more things when we can do it. So that will be for the year after. And the other one was another one of yours. I'm writing a book as well, and I wanted to get that out for this Christmas. And I've written one more chapter in the whole year.
It's a very hard thing to do that.
But I think the problem is
It's tough to write a book.
to do it.
Why are you writing a book? What for what reason?
I want to be able to look back at it. I think I've been incredibly fortunate to make a career out of something that I absolutely love doing. Still, whether I'm even now, if I'm catching a 5-pounder or a 50-pounder, when that bite alarm goes off, I still get the biggest buzz going.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to write a book about all the stories that I've had in my own personal fishing, monster carp with the lads, some of the filming results we've had in the UK, wherever it's been in the world, and look back at it one day, to my kids, to my grandkids, and say, that's what I did for a job. So I want to do it from a passion point of view, but at the same time, I think to write a book properly, I've got to stop going fishing.
Yep.
And I don't want to do that. So it's
When you're fishing.
You can't though, mate. You can't. But we've got best part of 2 weeks off over Christmas. I'm going to make a real conscious effort to get a lot more of it done. I'm probably halfway there, but just sitting down with a bit of time, putting pen to paper for something to look
Do you
back
think
on.
people even read books anymore?
I thought he was going to say, do you think anybody
I was going to say that's all code for money.
Well, and I want to earn loads of money.
And that.
No, my book is in the storybook. I'm not a very good storyteller, and I don't actually remember a lot. I'm not as romantic about it or as like story based as things like that. I want to do one because I feel like I'm constantly repeating what I think matters in fishing.
Yeah.
and then it takes ages for somebody to listen, and I feel like I keep saying the same things, and they end up. I feel like they end up being the right things to do in fishing.
Yeah.
But I just want to get everything I think down on paper, so I can just say, just read the book.
Yeah.
Please just read the book, and it'll help you out no
Just
matter
buy
what
the
level
book.
you're at.
Damo,
please
what's
just
this
buy the
called
book.
again?
Yeah.
A guggle jug.
Guggle jug, yeah.
Right.
Let's have some water. Actually.
All right, so that's cool. Well, that's
So, yeah,
some
so-
achieved, some not.
Yeah.
What about you? Did you have any targets?
Do you know, I didn't really. I threw myself into work a little bit last year, I think. I didn't really do a great deal of fishing, if I'm honest.
What, you got another job?
Yeah, I've got another job on the side. I'm trying to build up. No, I think I concentrated. I didn't do a lot of fishing last year at all. Nowhere near compared to what I'd done previous years, but try and change that again for this year.
Yeah.
So let's go around and have a little look at just a couple of little targets, maybe not like 12 essays like Tom just read out. Maybe we shorten it up a little bit and just have any targets. So Damo, anything for you for 2025?
25. I really want to catch that fish that's in the lake I'm fishing at the moment.
Well, the one that's 11 wraps out. Yeah.
11 wraps
one,
out,
big
yeah.
mirror.
The big mirror. I'm really quite restricted with time. Young family, heavy job, just don't get enough time. So setting targets is quite difficult for me. But one fish out of there, I think
It's achievable. The target's got to be achievable,
Yeah,
and that
definitely,
really is, isn't it?
that's enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Tom?
The ones I didn't achieve this year, I'm going to stick to
Carry
them.
on.
Carry
Yeah.
on with them. Put them down.
Even
on
the golf
skin.
ones, if you're not playing, is that
Yeah,
realistic?
no, I'm going to still try to do it.
Okay, fair.
If I fail, but it's there, isn't it? I want to put it out there. And I want to catch another 50-pounder out of Raysbury. There's one in there called the Long Sutton.
Joke.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's really the one to catch in there. And I'm not like Damo really, or I'll try and sort of target a fish normally, but that is an unbelievable fish. I have clicked with the lake, and I think it is possible. So I'm going to try and do the similar sort of time as I did this year. Use what I learnt this year and try and actually go and catch that one. So we'll see. But
Nice.
I think that's a good one. I've got lots of others, but I think that's the one to go and get.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I think I'm obliged to try and catch a 50-pounder, aren't I?
Yeah, but it needs
The
to be
grief I
achievable.
get. Yeah. No, I've got a really good ticket, not too far from work. I've done
Yeah.
a couple of nights back on it. In my opinion, it is one of the very best commons in the country, and it is over £50 most of the year. And I think it's catchable. It's not a particularly big lake. It's the one real big one. It gets caught. I know the areas of the lake it gets caught most. So if I can get a bit of consistent time when they're at the right times, yeah, that's achievable.
Okay. So there's a 50-pounder for all of us pretty much then.
Well, I tell you what, there's you're saying about that carp. It'll be out now actually by the time this podcast comes out. But there's a video out of the weekend, Scott Sweetman, talking all about that carp.
Me and Scott have had many chats.
I bet you have, yeah.
That's going to make it nice and busy, Dan.
Well, let's not be. Terry Earn's done a video about it, so it's
that's
going to
true.
be busy.
Yeah.
But it is
Unreal Cup.
Yeah.
But there's still only a limited amount of tickets. It's a syndicate. It's not a club. It's not a day ticket. Not anyone can just turn up. So even though it'll be busy, you still get them times, even through the winter, where people say they're going to fish all winter and don't.
Yeah.
And I will go down there as much in the cold as I can, because you've got to believe that of all the carp that are willing to have a mouthful of food, it's going to be the big one.
That is a beautiful carp to target, and it fishes all the way through, doesn't it?
It does,
Yeah. You're never too far away from it.
No.
Never, are you?
Never.
I hope for your sake you catch that,
Yeah.
Nice one to start
to
with.
be honest. What about you, Reed?
Mine's not going to be a huge carp. Mine's going to be a 30-pounder out of the River Thames, because I'm booked in to do a film on June the 16th from my boat, trying to catch river
That's
carp.
cool.
So I think what I'm going to try and do is treat next year, especially from sort of June the 16th through the summer months, post-spawning, I'm going to try and dedicate a bit of time to the river and my boat. One, to try and make this film as good as possible, but two, to try and catch a 30-pounder out of the Thames.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's achievable, but there's not
that's
loads
tricky,
of
no.
30-pounders in
Is
there.
there
So
40-pounders in there now?
yeah, there's 40-pounders in there, certain stretches.
Right.
Had that
Half-
50 in, didn't it?
That's
It did,
I know
yeah.
that's gone now,
Yeah.
but
Half it's a weird one with the Thames, because you hear all sorts of stories, because it's linked to so many lakes and valleys around. You get fish go in and out all the time with floods and things, so it's always got big carp in. Most of the time you just cannot get that information. It's just very
closely
under
guarded.
wraps.
But a 30-pounder,
It's
that's
achievable.
Yeah.
It's definitely achievable. I know people that have gone there and had one go on early part of the season, had a 30-pounder. It can happen. But I think even if we catch some nice carp for that film, it's going to be great. But having, like you say, it's nice to have something all the time to
Yeah. So what are you going to do?
chase.
Go and bait up throughout the
Yeah.
close? So is there this typical close on there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, typical close. So I shall start probably, I don't know, sort of May time. I'll be starting to go up there with my dinghy and get some spots going and stuff. And then, like I say, we're going to try and launch a film and sort of shoot that magical June the 16th moment.
Midnight cast out.
Yeah, midnight cast
Yeah,
out. We'll be
love
doing it with Jacko as well, so it should be nice. And
They
That'd
can
be
use
mega,
this bit
mate,
at the
that
beginning of the film.
yeah,
There you
So
go.
there's your target.
there you go. But yeah, no, I think it's achievable. I'm excited to do it. It's something I wanted to do for years and years and years. I keep saying, 'cause my boat is on my drive on a trailer, and it makes it quite difficult. Every time I have gone carping on the river, it's quite a big ordeal to take the boat on your own, get it in, go fishing.
Yeah.
So the plan is probably going to be to try and get it left up there in some form of mooring to make it much more accessible.
So you can just pull up, jump on, and away you go.
But if not, then obviously the baiting up I should just do from an inflatable and then take the boat for the trips. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Good.
Good.
That's
Good.
great.
Yeah.
Great
Really
target.
Yeah, I think so. Right.
I'm actually looking forward to that film and all that. Would be blinding. You don't
Yeah.
really see many films. Nick's one was obviously amazing.
Yeah, and Terry's done a couple over the years, but
Yeah.
yeah, you don't see, mate, mainly because it's so aggy to do.
Yeah.
Like the filming of it's aggy in itself because you're working in such close quarters. The getting up there and actually doing it, you've got to have a boat, you've got to know a bit about the river and how it works. It's not easy. I think a lot of people watch them films, go out with their mate, go on eBay, spend £1,000 each, get a boat. They soon realise that there's loads more expenses to it. Everything goes wrong with them all the time. The engines work once every 6 times you go out. Like everything's always ag with them. So it's normally quite short-winded adventures on them.
Yeah.
So, hopefully ours ain't.
yeah, love
We'll
that.
see.
Yeah, good luck.
So yeah, that's them targets. So let's lead into. We obviously wanted to give a bit of help to those people thinking of hanging the rods up
Yep.
that normally do that perhaps can't really find the way to keep catching right through the winter. So I thought we'd just go into like some winter tips. What should people be looking for? What should they be using hook baits wise, bait wise?
Yep.
Should they be scaling their bait back? Should they be upping it? Like some people just do not know. And talking to a few people at the podcast, they're the sort of things, that value of helping a lot of people. Just not everyone knows them simple little things. So I thought we'd just go around and maybe come up with a couple of bits each that we could keep people fishing. So if we start with you, Spoons, let's start with like, say, I don't know, like venues, for
I was just going to
example.
say that would be my first thing. Not everyone wants to go out in the cold, and in their mind they're I think they're almost blanking before they set up.
Yeah.
So like the fishing I did recently, I went up to Norton. I knew that the lakes were fishing relatively slow because of the cold snap, because of the winter-like conditions. So rather than going and sitting out on Pettits trying to catch a whacker, I wanted to get the bobbins moving. So I went into Hodgetts, which is probably the best stocked lake on the complex. I think per acre there's more carp in there than any of the others. Deep water as well, so they're just sort of at the bottom of that shelf now. And obviously we're not middle of winter, so I knew they'd still eat a bit of bait. But I think if I was going there in the winter months and just trying to nick a couple of bites, solid bags I think are an angler's best friend at that time of year, because you've got the perfect amount of bait to nick a bite, bit of go in them before you cast them out. So you've got a lovely little bit of attraction, just enough to catch one. But more importantly, if you then see one show in another swim at the other end, you don't feel like you've committed 20 quid's worth of bait onto the zone.
Yeah.
You can just reel them in, get on your toes, travel nice and light, and you know, change swims and just chuck the solids out again. For me, that, like I say, they're an angler's best friend in the winter to
Yeah.
keep the bites coming.
It was actually when we were up at North Bank, actually, Josh Dahl had the most. I think he might have had about 8 or 9 bites, all on that. Solid bags,
Yeah.
a little bit of smart liquid, I think it
Smart
was.
liquid, yeah.
Squeezed in there. Just larruping them to the back margin. Such nice
Yeah.
fishing in it. You're angling in seconds, aren't you?
And they come over
But
the
really
top, and like I say, it's
effectively.
just one little mouthful, and away
Yeah.
you go.
Anytime we talk about it, I feel I should use them more.
Same.
But I don't.
No.
They're
I think
aggy. They are a bit
They
aggy.
are aggy, and I think my fishing is about sort of accuracy and getting things right on the spot a lot of the time. And they don't lend themselves well to miscasting.
No, they're
You-
annoying.
You don't put them right on the spot, then you've got to slow down and get it done and get it back out. Whereas I'd rather just, if it's not on target, slow it down and just get it straight back out, bang on the mark.
Yeah,
Instead of
same,
like-
yeah.
So it's just like, doesn't really lend itself to my sort of fishing. But Spooner is right, they're unbelievably good.
And if you do it properly and you are organised with it, you can sit at home and prep yourself 15 bags with rigs in, leaders ready to go, and you do miss casts. It's less, you don't think about it as much because you just loop it off and you've got another one on ready to go straight
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Still obviously more faff than, you know, putting a spinner out there.
That is the only way to fish them.
It
isn't
is, yeah. You can't do it as you go. Whenever you fish a lake where there's a leader ban and you can't do it, it is frustrating when you've got to miss casts. You've got to sit and start tying again.
got a wet swivel and the swivel.
Oh, you got to dry out on a tan.
Yeah.
It's cold, horrible.
That's a great bit of advice for anyone, isn't it? If you are thinking of doing it, don't just buy a packet of PVA bags and go out and try and shovel your stuff in there and tie them up. Get, like you say, get the ready tied leaders, get the right leads, get the right bags, get
Sit
yourself
home
a
in the
nice
warm.
little bucket.
Time up.
That PVA solid bucket that we do's.
Oh, and you
unreal.
can have it laid out so well.
Yeah.
The compartments, you can have your bags literally in one. I have mine sat in with some of the pellets.
Yeah.
They're not going to dry out. They're just sitting there lovely, ready to go. Everything in there that you need. And that bucket is an absolute godsend.
It's when you sit there, I sat next to the other day tying them up. You watch people tying them up, you sit there and you, like you said, you think you should use, you watch them and it just looks, you got all the little dust in one side, the crumb in the other, and you watch them all put them together and you go, that looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's literally a hook bait with one spon perfectly over the top.
Not
isn't it?
even a spon, mate.
No,
It's
well,
third
a
of
mini
a
spon or whatever.
Burgess,
One spon.
Burgess has done some good YouTube videos.
Really
hasn't
Oh,
he?
yeah,
really
amazing.
good. Yeah, if you're unsure about it, you should definitely go and look at some of his stuff. There was one of his bags at the show where he has the lead under one side, so no matter how it lands,
So I've used it.
your lead's flat, your hook bait's on top. He is the absolute king of
Like a
it.
little method.
Great,
thing.
isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Do you know what I'd say for me, one of the biggest things is an obvious one really for any time of year, but more so for winter, like that location thing, like spending the time to just try and find out where they are or look for signs of where they are, because especially when it drops really cold, if you can just, you'll know, everyone will know here and plenty of people listening, once you find exactly where they are, some months they stay in the same place for 8 weeks, don't they? 9, 10 weeks.
Yep.
So you get one bite, it can be like a spring day, can't it? Sometimes you get it right. Especially if you're on things like the zigs and you find the area they're in and the depth they're at, you can just sit there and fish like you're in the middle of summer, can't you? So I think my little input with this would be to spend a little bit more time looking when you turn up at these places. I know they're short days if you're only going for a day, but even if you get there right on first light and just spend that first hour as it's getting light, just trying to find where they are. Don't always go in that swim that you love from the summer that's lovely
or
and
the one that's
lordy with
next
the
to
big
the car
gravel
park.
swim. Yeah. You know, everything's perfect about it. Go in that horrible one right round because they're in the deep corner and just have a little bit of time looking about, I'd say.
Yeah. Leading on from that, I would say the best way of finding them in the winter is liners. Because they're like you said, they're all huddled together and they don't really show that much. Like sometimes it's hard to find them showing in the summer, let alone the winter. And sometimes in the winter, you're only seeing them like in the middle of the night. And unless you're mental or really keen, you're not up at 3 o'clock in the morning watching.
No, we
People
can
can say
talk
they
good.
are, but
Yeah.
I'm not
You've
doing
got
it.
to be keen, haven't you?
You have.
I mean, in the winter, I'll go fishing at 12, 1 o'clock in the morning because that's the time you're going to see them. My success, you know, whenever I'm fishing sort of from November through December, January, if you get a bite in the middle of the night or you're awake in the middle of the night, you're always hearing them.
Yeah,
They're all
that's when
flattering
they're
out.
active.
Yeah, that is the time to see them.
Yeah.
But if you're not there at night or you're doing days, like I've fished a lot of day only venue, well, fish Walthamstow a lot in summer, in the winter, so you can't see them at night anyway.
No.
The best way of finding them is liners. You could get one liner that changes the whole winter.
Absolutely.
Like you said, because you're fishing, just fish a little bit further out than you think, and if you start getting liners, reel it back in a little bit. If you're still getting them, reel them back in, and you stop getting them, you can locate them pretty well like that.
Yeah.
And they will be clumped together. So you can move all 3 rods there. You get one bite, and you're off there
Yeah,
for the next 3
absolutely.
That's the
months.
spark.
When
innit?
they're badged up really close, you can feel them, can't you? When you
Oh,
cast
yeah.
out, they don't,
Landing
through 'em.
don't landing through them.
Definitely.
I mean, you can't spin for them if you like, but
No.
you know, you
No.
don't find them like that.
It's them little things that people have got to look out for.
Yeah, you've
isn't
got to
it?
look out for. But there's 2 things for me. If I'm only fishing like days or whatever, I'd use live baits, like so maggots and casters. They're the most effective bait you could use in the winter.
How would you go about using them? Someone that's never used maggots or casters or worms or anything like that. Like
I would just use, given a choice, I would just use caster as feed, and I would use red maggot on the hook, and I would just fish a spinner rig with maybe. It's difficult to explain it without seeing a picture of it, but I would have a small bit of red foam attached to the hook with maybe. Attached to the micro ring swivel with maybe between 7 and 11 maggots attached to that. That's the hook bait, and then just fish caster over the top. If I was doing the night, I'd maybe put 4 pints of casters out over 3 rods, fish tight, or you can just fish maggot over the top. You know, it's up to you, but casters seem to be a little bit better.
What do you think it is about the caster, like the crunch, the sort of
I don't
texture?
think, yeah, maybe, but I mean, once they've been out there a few hours, I don't think they're crunchy. They're quite soft. There's obviously something. If it's the ammonia, there's some. I don't know what it is. There's something in that bait they find extremely attractive, and it doesn't matter what time of year. I mean, I went seasons without using anything else other than maggot.
Yeah.
Because it is that attractive. But in the winter, it's certainly really good. Worms can be a bit hit and miss in the winter. The match guys say you can kill the swim when you put a worm out or chop worm out.
What, the wrong time of year or the? Or
Yeah, they can
I
just.
don't know if it's water temperature, but I've had the same conversation.
but
It's
I
kill
think
or kill.
lobworms are different to dendrobenus.
Yeah, different amino acids.
So yeah, there's some things to mess about with, but maggot fishing's fairly simple. If you can keep them not sweating up,
Yeah.
you're laughing really. But the other thing, the most successful thing, is to keep bait going in the swim, into your swim. My most consistent seasons have been where I've applied bait and I've just kept it going in.
The same venue, revisiting the same venue, and
going in the same areas, in the same swims. If you can do that, and they will just stay there and eat it, and you will just catch what is ever in the swim.
Mm-hmm.
But like Tom said, you can get to like bite times are generally after dark. I remember fishing fluorocarbon, and you're getting loads of liners. It just suddenly switches on, and you get the bite time is like probably a 2-hour window.
Yeah.
And if you're there and you fed it and they're looking for it, catch them.
Yeah, you might have 4.
Yeah,
That's
might
the
do.
thing. Yeah.
What about outside of live baits, Tom? I know you're a big fan of them, but if you was to go somewhere where you couldn't use what Damo's saying, the maggots and the caster, what would be your approach to a typical day on the bank in the real cold months?
Similar to what Neil said, that you don't want to commit to you definitely don't commit to a spot, because the fish aren't really going to find your spot. You really have to find the fish in the winter. But I tend not to use solid bags. I'll just use single yellow pop-ups. It's just from fishing Walthamstow for years as a kid.
Yeah.
We just used to move our rods around quite a lot with no spots throughout the winter, fish a single bright yellow pop-up exactly on the right spot, and you catch a lot of carp throughout the winter that way. And the same as what Neil was saying is, because you're fishing like that, if you're there and you think, I haven't had a liner, I haven't had a bite, the bite time's gone because it's normally like 10 past 11 or whatever it is, they're not here.
Yeah.
And you really don't mind reeling in. It's like, it's convenient because it's just like, ding, ding, you just change 3 hook baits and you cast back out again in another swim. It takes seconds to move.
Yeah.
And because you have to find the fish more in the winter, I would say really cut down your kit. I'm one of these people that if it's not easy to do it, I'll just end up not doing it.
Yeah.
So I have to make everything really convenient for myself. Cut down all of my kit, make sure I've just got a bag with my yellow pop-ups in and my orange ones or whatever, like what I want through the winter. I've got the rigs on the rods that I know that I can cast everywhere, a helicopter and a spinner. I even change over to little bait screws in the winter.
Yeah.
So I can recast a lot. Do you know what I mean? So you don't have to keep doing the bait first. You can literally reel in, put a new hook bait on, cast it back out. So you've always got a really fresh, smelly one out there. And a really small amount of stuff on my barra. Just literally my chair, my bag, my unhooking mat, brolly.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. Nice.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
And you think, I can go for 5 hours.
Yeah.
Now I think you've got to get all your kit ready and you say, I'll give it a miss till next week. It's like, I'll go over there if I blank, it doesn't matter. I might learn something. And I think just going for really short trips in the winter, you catch some, you feel good. And then you're ready for the spring more so as well then, because you're sort of in the zone. Yeah. You haven't stopped going.
No, I totally agree with that. I'd also say like be like prepared for winter. I think you see a lot of people having to go in the winter and they've got like, they haven't invested in like maybe like a decent pair of Salopets or a decent pair of waterproofs and stuff like that. And they go and try.
You're going to say KordaClothing.com?
Well, this is an advert there. If you want it, it's all available there. We've got some new waterproofs out as well.
No, but having the right clothing is a massive part of it.
And it will stop you. It will stop you. You go once without the wrong kit at the wrong time when it's freezing cold, driving rain. You ain't going again. Yeah. Because it is not an enjoyable experience. No. You invest in some decent kit that's going to last you forever. And go out with that kit on, you can go and you can sit out and it, stand out, and it's no different really, is it? No. It isn't miserable. The miserable part, maybe going back to the car at the end of the day, that's about it. Yeah. Sit under your umbrella, nice and warm, chance of catching some bonus carp. And I think that's where a lot of people miss out. There's some big carp swimming around in the winter as well,
big cut and look impeccable, don't they?
All go chasing the PBs in the spring and summer, but they're out there in the winter. You catch one in winter, Nick. Absolutely unreal.
There's nothing there, actually.
No, there ain't. Makes you want to go now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
February.
Yeah, warm clothes. A small amount of kit, recast a lot.
Stove.
I think so.
Tea.
Yeah.
That's
Going with Damo, make sure you've got your brew kit.
Go for short trips.
Yeah, I think so. Anything else you'd add to that, Damo? Anything like for somebody that's not going at all during the winter?
I mean, I'd agree with Tom. Like the yellow pineapples is a guaranteed bite if you're on them, isn't it? Or even like zig fishing, you've got to have that in the bag.
Yeah.
That's not something I do too much these days, but I used to fish zigs loads in the winter time. And, that can change from blanking to catching 10, can't it?
Well, I've actually done some pineapple pop-ups with mainline now. It's only taken like 19 years to get right.
Yeah, brilliant.
But they're exactly what I use. Like I always Kev at Mainline makes me my
Yeah.
pop-ups, and we've got it now that everyone was obsessed with really hard pop-ups.
Yeah.
And too big, I thought. So
Yeah.
we've ended up coming to a pop-up that's around 13 mil with double the amount of the original pineapple and embuteric in it.
Yeah.
A darker yellow than normal because I like that sort of egg yolky sort of yellow colour. And they're consistently buoyant even over time, but they're softer, which means you can put more liquid on them. So I put the pineapple goo on.
Yeah.
And I'll take maybe about a centimetre out the top of it, and I put 25 drops of embuteric acid in it.
Yeah.
And then I put that on top of these pineapple pop-ups. I don't know when the pop-ups are coming out. Do you know when they're coming out from Mainline?
No,
No.
next year at some point.
Next year. But I think they are the best hook bait in the world. And if you put that embuteric and the pineapple goo on top of them, because like I said, because they're soft, they'll soak it in. You do it 3 or 4 times and you've just got the best hook bait. I used to use it only through the winter and into the spring. But actually, this year I've used sweet corn a lot as well as feed and 10 mil cell and 10 mil ice fish. I've just been using them yellow pop-ups over the top all year, and I've just caught so many on them.
Yeah, nice. Good days. All right.
Does anyone else really want to go fishing?
Yeah.
Honestly, whenever I talk about it, it just makes me want to go. And the fact I can see a lake is not helping that.
Yeah. Well, I think we did some of those things that we're just talking about there, those tips and stuff. Obviously, we're gonna go out next week, aren't we? Like you're going to Burners for a couple
you're
of
not
nights.
fishing, are you? You're scared of blanking?
Too scared of blanking
Yeah.
again. So
Well, why don't you fish?
well, because obviously we're going to get a lot of content created that way, are we?
Yeah. You come out and
It's
fish.
not going to be hectic.
It's not going to be hectic,
It's
is it?
still cold in December.
Okay.
We're
Why
going
don't
there because it's a
you
chance
do it
to
now,
whack
mate,
up.
and I'll
You'd
chuck it on
love me to
Instagram.
fish,
What?
wouldn't you? Because you know you're going to stick both go in the dolly hole again.
No.
No.
Mate,
No,
we
no,
don't
no.
know any. Genuinely, I got
Okay.
a call from one of the lads saying they've got a couple of spaces. Would we like to go? And we both said absolutely. Because
Yeah.
contrary to popular belief, we don't actually fish together that much, do we?
No. Try not to.
Yeah, but I
Well, you've
enjoy.
got a new mate now, haven't you?
I've got a new mate now.
Yeah.
I don't like to talk about it.
Fo.
Foes.
Yeah, mate, I'm Phil.
Your foes.
But whenever I am spending time with Tom on the bank, it's great because
Yeah.
what do you reckon? 9 or 10 times I'll abuse your hairline.
Yeah.
You'll
Yeah.
have got me tattoos on my teeth.
Yeah.
It's great. We have a lot. We have a lot of fun.
We'll take these hats, shall we?
Take these
Yeah, we'll
hats.
take these hats.
Quite
Plenty
nice.
of tea. I'll tell you, I'll probably bring me rubbish mince
Do you know
pies,
this?
shall I?
But I ain't going to get eaten today.
Be a nice shot when your first 50 with the old
Well,
Santa
there's
hat
two
on,
in there.
wouldn't it?
There's two in there, Reed.
Do you know there's 45 40s in Burners?
That's pretty scary.
That is insane, isn't
Yeah.
it?
20 acres. 24 acres, is it,
Oh.
Burners?
I've done one trip
Oh,
there.
whoa,
Oh,
whoa,
hello.
whoa.
What we got
Whoa,
coming through here?
whoa,
Someone's going to
whoa.
have to get that door. Well, I thought he was a good host.
Oh, it's lots. Yeah, yeah.
And he's just gone one step further by the look of it.
Doesn't know how
That's
doors
right,
work.
No. He lives in a barn.
He's undone 9
What's he
locks
done
and
here?
Still can't get in.
He's in. Is he in?
Is he?
You might have to help him here.
There's a lock on the bottom as well, isn't there?
Yeah, one on the bottom. We've got no camera on this. This is a shame. Hey! Wow, look at this.
Oh my days.
Let me make a
Be
little...
careful,
No, do not.
Steve.
Happy Christmas, boys.
Thank you
cheers,
so
look
much.
Look at that.
Can we
Thank
come
you.
here every week, Steve?
Are these actual espresso martinis?
Thank you, mate.
Huh?
With a little,
Oh, well done, Reedy.
There was always going to be one, wasn't there?
Thank you
a little bit of Bailey's in it.
Oh, Merry
Look
Christmas,
at
everyone.
this.
Happy Christmas.
Cheers, fella. Thank you very
Let me
much.
put that down,
Boys,
Steve.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas, mate.
Thank you,
Right,
Steve.
Steve.
I thought
Appreciate
that-
it, mate.
I thought the
Look at
sausage
them.
rolls were good and the mince pies. That's
Oh, a little
unreal.
addition of Bailey's.
Oh, that's lovely. That I've just got to
cheers,
get a little
Thomas.
bit of
Oh, cheers,
napkin, hold
boys.
on.
Cheers,
Happy-
boys.
happy Christmas.
Happy
boys.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Have a good one.
Lovely.
Bottoms up.
Quite strong, but nice.
Put hairs on your
That's
chest.
good,
It
that.
will. Right, I'm going to chuck a log on and we will get cracking.
Should we stay for another one of these after?
I'm in. Cheers. Hey, mate, you in?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, go on in. Read it. Cheers.
I mean, go on.
Well done.
Go on.
Merry
Oh,
Christmas.
Steve's, I think he's taking these. Yeah. What's he got here? Yeah, let him in, Damo.
Neil's been a pettit slate.
Let's have a look. What's it? Read it out, Neil. Read it out.
Right, so it says Neil Spooner, Norton Disney Pettit Lake, November the 31st, 30 days in November. We'll write that.
That's why it's never going to happen.
£50, 1 hour. It's a cracking car.
Is there even a £50 in there?
Not yet.
No, so there's no date, no 31st November. No, that is brilliant.
Is
Thank
that a
you.
present
Cheers,
to
Steve.
Neil?
I love that.
Can I get
You
some
finally
logo
have
on
one.
I like the fact I've had one and I've kept it.
That is brilliant.
That is incredible.
Well
So,
done, Steve.
Chuck him on the floor. Right?
Do you reckon?
Yeah, stick him out of the way.
I don't want to hurt him.
Right, I'll tell you what we are going to do now, which you don't know about, is Damo has actually got a little award.
He's got a award.
He's got an award, which I've got here.
From who?
It's a bit weird.
No.
From Angling Direct.
This isn't weird. Damo has got an award because he has won the luggage item of the year with Angling Direct, as voted for by the public, for the frame carry-on.
Yeah, great shout.
Which I think
Great shout.
well done, Damo.
Well done.
That is a cracking bit of kit.
It
Is
is
that
a
the bit
cracking
of
bit
kit
of
that
kit.
I've got in my van that you keep saying I need to use and I haven't changed the bag over to?
Yeah, that's
That's
the
the
one.
one.
Yeah,
That's
Oh,
the
right,
one.
yeah, okay. Well,
Thanks,
I'll change
mate.
it over now. It's the best product in the world.
Well, we'll stay on that for just a very short period of time, Damo. How's that come about, that product, and why ddid you want to invent that to be able to use for yourself?
Oh, I didn't invent it. It was just a change of something that already existed. It was. I used to use a fishing box called an FGco Super Seat, I think it was, back in the 80s, 90s, which was just like a rucksack come seat box type style box. And I had one in my office at home during COVID, and I thought, do you know what? I think I'd like to bring that back. So yeah, really, it was just because it had a frame in it. It was off the ground. It kept all your gear dry, and it was just it looked like, it was a great bit of kit in the day. So just redesigned a new one, and that's what it come from, really.
Great to see, though, isn't it? Getting voted for by the public. 'Cause that's it's not out there, but it's quite different to the standard sort of luggage that's available now, isn't it? So to have a punt on something like that with a frame round it, slightly chunkier maybe than some of the other rucksacks.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't invent it. FGco did it. Fox did one way back in the day.
Did
So
Free Spirit do one as well?
I think they've all done
I
one
think
or
Nash
two.
did one as well.
Yeah,
I used to have a Nash one, a big
so
high
it's-
one, big rucksack one.
So it was just my spin on it, really.
Yeah.
And I've done an even smaller one now, which will be coming out next year.
Yeah, I've
I'm
seen
using
that.
That is
Yeah,
the
looks great.
difference in our company to other companies, is that they're angling products designed by really good anglers that actually are good.
Yeah.
I know we said it in last podcast, but that is the reality of the situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that he's used it in the past, he's a very, very good angler, knows what's good, and brings something back, and people actually really love it.
And
we haven't
develop
actually,
it.
we haven't sold like a ridiculous amount of them. It's like the people that are using them think they're
They're
really,
obviously
really
yeah,
good.
It's great.
Well, mate.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
well deserved.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, well done.
Cheers.
And-
Go on.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah,
boys.
well done.
Yeah, let's say.
I've not got a lot. Well done, everyone.
Yeah, well done, well
General
done.
public. Hey!
Oh yeah, cheers, Ad.
Yeah, well done. Just before we move off that, there is actually, I think the voting is actually closed now, but our very own Daryl Peck and Tom Maker are actually up for Carp Angler of the Year under the same sort of award thing. So fingers crossed one of them gets it. They both had a pretty special year last year, and Daryl is actually going to be on, I believe, as the first guest in January. So he's going to tell us all about that year and all
Yeah.
the details about that £60 fully that I think people are going to find really interesting to listen to because
Who-
it's quite controversial.
Who are you voting for then, mate? Tom or Daryl?
Oh, Tom or Daryl, that's tough.
It's not, but not for me. I'm voting for Daryl.
Yeah, I think I would
I think
probably-
what he's
yeah,
done both home and abroad.
Yeah, maybe.
It's ridiculous what he's caught this year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm
Yeah.
the biggest Tom Maker fan ever as well, but I
Yeah.
also think that
Yeah,
Daryl deserves that
Maker's
shit.
a
Yeah, and-
legend, but
I think because I think probably side with Daryl slightly as well because I was fortunate enough to go with Kev to start a project on something that's going to be coming in the future with Daryl, a really special film, and seeing him in his sort of element doing that real out there stuff abroad was quite eye opening. I can tell you, it really really gave me the buzz to want to do something like that, and the fact that he does it time and time again on his own
yeah,
is quite special. So
Very
I'm
special
really looking
mindset.
forward to giving getting into Daryl in the new year in January because I think that's going to be a really good podcast.
Yeah, well, hopefully one of them boys wins. They both deserve it.
Yeah,
yeah.
for
So
sure.
if you're watching, Tom, sorry, mate.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
I actually think
You should have
Tom-
believed in the moon.
Tom-
Gone.
yeah, we told you.
we did tell you.
No, I think Tom wrote on Daryl's Instagram or Facebook saying, "I've actually voted for you as well."
Yeah.
That's
Oh, well,
nice
that's
thing
yeah,
for
what a
Tom
guy.
Maker to
Yeah,
do,
What a
I'd
guy.
vote for Daryl. He's just a phenomenon, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
You know,
I've fished with him a
Very
couple of
special.
times this year as well. I've never fished with him before, but we fished together at Carp Atlantis and
Yeah.
Decub on my social at Gigantica as well. And he's just one
Yeah.
three
I
steps
saw
ahead.
Is
I
he
saw-
the best angler on the planet? Best carp angler
Well,
on
let's
the
save
planet?
that. Let's save that. That's a
Okay.
nice topic.
Alright,
That I
alright,
think that's a
fair.
really good topic. So let's save that
That's a good one,
definitely. So let's just before we go into Damian's confession, which I'm looking forward to listen to, let's just reiterate the fact that we've got this mega comp going to finish off the year. So somebody is going to win Damo's 13-foot 4-pound platinum samples.
Beautiful.
And the way you're going to win that is by sending in your confessions or bankside dramas to the email that we're going to have in this description. The one that we find the most amusing and funniest, we'll read out on the podcast in the new year, and that person will win the 13-foot £4 platinums.
Okay. So should we say as well that if your confession is short enough, you can put it in the comments?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, if you want to do that, if you feel comfortable enough to put it in the
it's-
comments on social, do it. They're still going to count.
Yeah.
But if you want to email in something in a bit more detail, feel free to do it. We're going to look at all of them. So it'll get chosen regardless.
Okay.
And 2 more, so the second and third that we still think are amusing, but not quite the top spot, will get some clothing bundles from Korda Clothing. So
Lovely.
You're going to win no matter what. But yeah, let's have a little listen to this confession.
Come on,
then,
Damo.
It's just a ridiculous story. It's
Yeah,
just
go
so
for it.
funny.
It's I'm quite worried about this.
Does Wendy know yet?
No, so Regan's,
Wendy's Damo's wife, by the way.
Regan's going to love it. Richie not so much, and my wife is going to kill me.
Right, okay.
You mean Richie McDonald?
Richie
Richie
Mac, yeah.
McDonald, yeah, right. So
There's your intro.
there's your. So, as you all know, I've become very good friends with Richie. He lives down at Norton Disney, and over the years, he's obviously, since he's been at Norton, he's collected a bit of cash, which would be his, well, it was his life savings. So,
And trust in you.
and trust in me, yeah, a lot of trust in me, obviously. So I don't know what it is with old East End, South London guys, but they like to bury their money, right? So Richie buried his life savings in the ground outside his caravan.
Right.
Came back one day, and they dug it all up, right, to put in some pipes, some underground whatever, and he's obviously panicking. Where's my money? You know, I don't know if it was in a lunchbox or something. Anyway, it's taken
already
him
feel
a
like I
good
can
few
see where
hours
this is
to
going.
find this, right? So
Yeah.
he's found it, right? So I've said to him, Rich, give me your money, right? I'll put it in the safe, and it's safe. You know, obviously, it should be safe anyway. So, so he's given me his life savings, which was quite a lot of money.
Okay.
And
You're going to say how much?
yeah, I will at the end.
Okay.
And it amounted to quite a thick envelope, and he gave it to me, and I put it in another envelope, and I put it in my work rucksack, thinking, as soon as I get to work, I'll put that in the safe. Gone in where the safe, whoever the guy's got the key, he hasn't got the key. He's left it at home. So this it was in my rucksack for about a month, I reckon.
Oh my God.
So it's hidden in the back. There was like a little secret pocket there. I put it in there.
Friend carry, I hope.
No, so I've come into work one morning, and I prepare some porridge, you know, in a tub. Anyway, it's leaked, right? So there's milk all over everything. It's like stinking. So I'm like, got everything out other than the money, right? And I've thrown the rucksack in the skip.
No.
Oh my God.
With Richie's life savings in it, right? So
No.
yeah.
Oh my God. Wendy, turn off. I know where this is going.
Oh, it gets better.
Right.
So, so I'm thinking, I didn't even think about it, and then when I got home, like they say this was on a Monday, right? So the collection of the skip thing gets, I think it's on a Friday or something. So I thought, where's that money? So I'm looking everywhere for it, and obviously hadn't remembered it had gone into that. I left it in my rucksack, so I thought I'd put it in the safe. Blah 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 blah. Anyway, get to Friday. Collecting, and then I realised where it was. Well, no, sorry, got to the Monday, and the penny dropped, and I thought, "Fuck!"
I've thrown away again. I hate people don't do that.
Got to work. Skip's empty, and then you can smell burning, right? So, and then there's like the lads at work said, "Oh, Essex Packaging's burnt down." Because the environmental place that picks up our skips, the whole site, the whole industrial site is incinerated. So any chance of me going down there and going,
Oh my God.
where's that rucksack? So yeah, it all went up in smoke.
Oh my God.
So the moral of the story is, don't ever let me look after your money.
No, again.
No.
That is a lot of money to lose.
Yeah, yeah.
I said it because I said if we put it on the podcast, we might be able to set up a GoFundMe to try and get the money back.
Yeah.
We could probably do that.
Why not?
Well, I was thinking I could sell one of Wendy's kidneys.
Without knowing.
she'd be right
yeah.
up for that.
Yeah.
Oh my
Get
God,
around there, a
that's so
few of them.
So have you told Rich now then?
No.
You still haven't told him?
You haven't told him?
I told him the basics of the story, and I
Right.
said, "We'll send you a little edit of this, and then you can hear it. What actually happened."
Right,
Ah,
okay.
he
So
will.
you know your skin from this day forward.
No. I'll have to sort that out.
He actually,
Yeah.
actually told me when he had his new caravan put in, and he said they were like landscaping, so he had a bit of garden to look out on.
Yeah.
And he went, "It's all right though, but I'll bury my money there." I'm like, "You bury your money?" And
Yeah.
It's an old school thing
It's
to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
weirdly, that's safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Giving it the name, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's funny though because you are trustworthy with things like
Very.
that. Like,
Yeah.
Very.
I would give you anything of mine and think
Yeah.
you'd look after it, or
Yeah.
at least not nick it.
Maybe
Yeah.
not now.
Huh?
Maybe not now.
No.
When you find out in about 10 years' time we do another one of these that he stuck it all on red and the story was a load of rubbish.
Oh,
Well,
that is
there
a
you go.
nightmare.
I think that's a really nice way to end. It was a funny little
Yeah.
story, that. But don't forget, if you want to win those rods, get your funny confessions in, your funny Bankside dramas, because somebody's going to win those rods.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed doing these. Can't wait to get into the new year and get stuck into a few more. Keep your questions coming in, because obviously they're going to really help us get going in the new year. We're going to keep these podcasts going. But for now, a very Merry Christmas.
Very
everybody
Merry
that
Yeah.
listens
Merry
to the
Christmas,
podcast.
especially you, Rich.
Yeah, especially you, Rich.
You have a good one, Rich.
You can take him your mince pies, can't you? At least he can have
They're
them mince
sitting on his
pies.
own with no food,
Yeah.
no money.
And you lads, have a great Christmas.
Yeah, happy Christmas.
And
Happy
we'll see you in the
Christmas.
new
I've drunk
year.
mine,
Yeah.
but
Here we go. We're
Cheers,
having an empty
boys.
cheers.
Merry
Well done, lads.
Cheers.
that is a nightmare.
That's a
That is
nightmare.
hilarious.